Back with another tutorial, guys. I got something pretty sweet for you. I'm going to teach you how to make a build up and drop like Kygo or Noted. Probably noticed some similarities between what guys like Kygo and Noted do. I took a lot of inspiration from their music, sort of took different elements, but also, you always got to make it your own. Something I want to stress on this channel is, I'm tired of like seeing people on the internet talking about rules with producing and you have to do it this way, or never put an EQ after this or whatever. Like, there's no rules. Obviously, there's general practices that work best. But something on this channel that I want to clarify is that you can find a million ways to do the same thing, or you can find a million ways to do something new. So building up, so this project is actually a bit of a secret, which is why you'll notice I have the vocal muted up there because it's going to be playing throughout the drop. So you probably noticed the first part of the drop sounded a little bit empty, like it was missing sort of that top layer, but then those vocal chops come in at the end. So this is a secret, and this is going to be a sweet project once it's out. So we will keep updating you guys on that. Yeah, so starting with the build up, we've got a couple guitars playing. So these are both acoustic guitars from Contact. So basically you can pick different presets that will play different rhythms, and you can essentially just put your MIDI chords in there. So I had a lot of filtering going on, especially as we got closer to the drop, and some volume automation. Let's see here, we got one knob filter. I've showed you guys this before. It's a filter that I like to use. It's just so easy and quick. Also, you'll notice I have a limiter, or sorry, ozone on the master bus there. I just did that to bring out some loudness during this tutorial so you guys can hear it a little bit better, because I haven't mixed this yet. It's still pretty early stages, just more of a production session at this point. So guitars, I have this Reese bass that comes in. Cut out some lows. Don't want too much low end in the pre-drop because then it's going to take away some of the impact when the drop hits. The synth pluck comes in. Nothing special there, it's just the serum sound. Piano. Using that Alicia Keys Contact piano that I love. Cut out the lows again, put a little bit of OTT on it. That's that. And then other than that, there's some risers. The kick comes in here, but it's a high cut, so it's really just the subby low end of it. Some more percussion. So these vocal chops I made are just kind of filtering in. So there's a lot going on with those, but basically what I did to make those vocal chops, I did a tutorial a few weeks ago on how to make vocal chops. So that was sort of one method. This one's slightly different, but all kind of the same principles. So what I did was this acapella I'm working with. If you can see those cuts there, basically I chopped it up and pulled out some of the phrases, like maybe like a ooh or ah here and there, that I thought sounded really nice. Pulled them into a separate track, and then I loaded them into Logic Sampler, the EXS24. So if you want to load in sounds, what you want to do is click Edit, and then you can, if all those files there, you can drag them and pull them right in. And then what you want to do is just exit, you'll save it. Then you can tweak around with the settings in here. Like I added a tiny bit of glide onto it just so that each vocal phrase like kind of glides into each other, just to add a little bit of movement. And then you can't see my keyboard here, but so I basically just kept playing around with it. Same way I write melodies, just playing on the keyboard until I came up with something that sounded catchy. So then it sounds like this. Without any processing on it. So I had to do quite a bit of work on them to make them sound cool, but I think it came out all right. And that's more of like a, I would say, sort of like a noted style. Yeah, so Little Altar Boy, just to pitch it up an octave and then add a bit of a higher formant to it. Did some surgical EQ and just pulling out some frequencies that I thought sounded a little rough. Compressed them, just using Logic's compressor. Threw some OTT on them to add a little bit of sort of like distortion. Kickstart to get that side chain. And then just did some filtering automation on them. And then I bust them out to repeater, which is a delay I like to use a lot. And I put some side chain on the delay as well so that it was flowing. And then I used lustrous plates as the reverb. So yeah, that's how the vocal chops were made. What else we got going on here? Got a couple of stabs playing. Just to add some impact and some brightness. I really like this sound here. Sort of like a strings sounding synth preset from Serum. Again, haven't done too much of mixing to any of this. It's really just temporary stuff. Really pushed it out to the sides. Put anything below 200 in mono, which I don't think there really was anything below 200 anyways. Brass stabs from Serum. I'm gonna actually I have a tutorial that I'm gonna do soon to show you guys how you can make your own. Keep an eye out for that. Little plug right there. Sub bass. Turn that up. So it's pretty standard sub bass, just a sine wave, I think. Yeah, kind of a sine wave in Serum. And then the bass line. This bass line takes pretty heavy inspiration from Kygo, especially some of his earlier stuff. His bass lines kind of sound so it's Kygo-esque in terms of the rhythm. The actual sound itself is more of like a slap house bass. I just thought it cut through the mix nicely and added some punch. And certain notes went with the rim shots and snares, which I'll play for you soon. Yeah, just, you know, EQ, compression, spread, just stuff above 200, just a little bit. Everything below it, that I kept mono. And then, oh, this is just a pluck sound. Kind of complemented the bass and the snares you'll hear. Just a pretty standard snare clap sound with some reverb on it. Another snare. It's always key to layer your drums, especially in drops. It just adds so much depth, I find anyways. But again, no rules. Do whatever you think sounds good. Pretty big kick there. Pretty punchy. So this rim shot here. It's a sample I got from Splice, but I laid it in the rhythm that I wanted it. And then, yeah, I mentioned it kind of goes with those plucks and bass, so you'll hear that now. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. Adds a little cohesiveness to it. Then some impact effects, down filters, crash. Notice one of those down filters I kickstarted. I put some sidechain on it. So yeah, that's that. Okay, so then these atmosphere sounds I added in. So the way I made those was I just I took a phrase from the vocal and I kind of reverse reverb, added some reverb to it and then reversed it. So it's kind of like a pulsing sound. And then just layered it, did one of them. This is like the original pitch. Yeah, that's the original pitch. Filtered them just to take, they're supposed to be pretty distant in the mix. Some reverb, side chain, a little more EQ, and then some width, some spread to it. And then these snaps. So this is like a pretty standard tropical house style snap. That's sort of just like a more dry. And then, yeah, those are really all the elements, guys. Don't want to bore you here for too long, but I'll play it through for you one more time, and I can't wait for you guys to hear this because it's gonna be sick. I'll give you a hint. It is a throwback cover that we're doing. If you have any guesses, throw them in the comments below. That would be pretty fun, actually. Let's get some guesses in the comments below. See if you guys have any ideas based off of the chords and what you can kind of gain from it. Although I'm not saying the chords are the same, but anyways, throw some guesses in.